Moving on now to elections. Oregon's second elections director in 2 years is calling it quits. Deborah Scroggin joined the Secretary of State's office in 2020 after a 3-month search. The last director was fired by Bev Clarno, the Secretary of State at the time, after he pointed out problems with the state's aging elections equipment. Today, I asked Oregon Governor Kate Brown about the resignation, which she said is a question for the Secretary of State. But then, as governor and as a former Secretary of State herself, she talked about the job of elections director.
I will say that overseeing elections, particularly now after the Trump administration and his efforts to, frankly, provide false information to Americans about the integrity of our voting systems, being in elections is an incredibly tough job right now. Secretaries of State across the nation have gotten death threats. It is absolutely unacceptable. By any measure, by any account, America, and particularly Oregon, has one of the most safe and secure voting systems in the entire world.
And let me just correct something I said there. Deborah Scroggin actually was appointed in 2021. Now, I asked the governor if there's a systemic problem with the elections position right now. Governor Brown said no, it's just a super tough job. And that's pretty much what the resigning elections director said in her letter. Here's the letter. Scroggin wrote, "We are at an extraordinarily challenging time for election officials. Mis- and disinformation have made the work of administering elections extremely challenging." And by the way, I thought it was sort of interesting that at the bottom she wrote, "Best of luck," which to me sort of sounds like best of luck, friends, but I am out of here. Late last week, Oregon Secretary of State Shemia Fagan talked with state lawmakers about elections. She wants to add 4 new positions to her office, and she's asking for the funding now. Fagan said her office tracked 220 incidents of false information related to elections this past year. She also described for lawmakers the way that some members of the public are apparently trying to overwhelm local elections offices with public records requests.
The flood of public records requests that are highly technical, that take a large amount of time to actually work through what the person is even asking for. And then often when the clerk, which sometimes is one clerk, like in Lake County, one person that works in this elections office, by the time they often get back to the people and say, okay, here's what we actually have, these things don't apply to Oregon, here's what we can actually give you, it will cost, $92 or $104 for our staff time. The person then disappears and then comes back with a new request that they cut and paste it off of some national website. And then a cycle just continues and is incredibly, incredibly time consuming. And this is duplicated across all 36 counties.
Fagan wants her office to handle all those public records requests to ease the strain on local election workers.